Owning property back in India feels like this deeply personal milestone for so many non-resident Indians. It's a tangible connection to your roots, right? It's a dream realized, and obviously a legacy for your family. But let's be completely honest for a second. That dream can, and quite frankly often does, turn into a total legal nightmare. Just imagine pouring years of your hard-earned savings into a property, only to wake up one day and discover it's been occupied without your permission, or worse, fraudulently sold. And the kicker, you're sitting thousands of miles away, unable to just drive over and check on it. So it really begs the question, is your Indian property truly safe? Well, today we are going to find out.
Welcome to today's Explainer. Our whole purpose right now is to take the incredibly complex, honestly intimidating world of Indian property laws and completely demystify it for you. We're going to take those dense legal frameworks and turn them into a highly practical playbook. By the end of this deep dive, you're going to have the exact knowledge you need to protect your hard-earned assets and, most importantly, keep your peace of mind intact.
Okay, let's jump right in. Here's the game plan for this explainer. First up, the NRI property nightmare. Then, we'll cover the Indian legal framework, move into step-by-step dispute resolution, tackle managing power of attorney, and wrap up with preventing future property disputes. All right, starting off with Section 1, the NRI property nightmare, specifically focusing on distance and vulnerability. We really need to zero in on the core anxiety of being an NRI. You're trying to monitor highly valuable assets while living across oceans and multiple time zones, and honestly, that sheer physical distance, it creates a massive vulnerability.
So, how exactly do these nightmares even start? Well, like we just said, physical distance is absolutely the biggest factor here. Because you just can't visit regularly, unscrupulous relatives or neighbors often take advantage. Then you've got incomplete or missing documentation. I'm talking about old title deeds or missing succession certificates. These create giant loopholes for bad actors. Add in messy family disagreements over inheritance, the extremely dangerous misuse of a power of attorney, and of course, builder delays or outright fraud. Basically, your physical absence is the ultimate catalyst for all of these issues.
And when we actually map out the chaos, a pretty clear pattern emerges between the type of dispute and the usual suspect. Dealing with illegal possession, sadly, your biggest threat might actually be a cousin claiming the ancestral land, or maybe a tenant who just refuses to leave. If you're looking at a fraudulent sale or boundary encroachments, the culprits are typically neighbors or organized fraudsters who specifically target vacant plots. And what if your issue is project delays or denied refunds? Well, that sits squarely on the shoulders of builders and developers. Figuring out exactly who you're fighting is always step one to winning the battle.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the Indian legal framework. Now, please don't zone out and view these laws as boring textbook jargon. Think of them instead as powerful weapons in your personal arsenal for justice. Because depending on the specific dispute you're facing, you need to pull the exact right tool from your legal toolkit. FEMA, the Foreign Exchange Management Act, is your baseline. It regulates what you can and absolutely cannot buy, for instance, restricting you from purchasing agricultural land. Now, if a builder is dragging their feet on your project, RERA is your dedicated forum for fast relief. If someone has illegally occupied your property, the Specific Relief Act is exactly what your lawyer will use to get it back. And for those tricky inheritance disputes, the Hindu Succession Act, or the Indian Succession Act, depending on your religion, dictates the legal heir shares. This includes really crucial co-parcenary rights, which basically means the joint inherited ownership rights for daughters.
Now, this is super important. You have to understand exactly where you stand legally, especially when it comes to NRI versus OCI status. Both NRIs and OCIs can buy residential and commercial property, and both are blocked from buying agricultural land. But, and this is a big but, both can inherit it. However, if a dispute actually goes to court, OCI holders who have formally surrendered their Indian citizenship are going to face much stricter scrutiny of their citizenship documents to make sure their claims align perfectly with property laws. So if you're an OCI, keeping your citizenship paperwork flawless is literally just as important as the property deed itself.
Okay, let's transition over to Section 3, step-by-step dispute resolution. Think of this as your concrete battle plan for fighting back. And honestly, the best part here is that you don't necessarily have to jump on a 15-hour flight to India to get the ball rolling.
So here is the logical progression you want to follow. Step 1 is always gathering your documents. Title deeds, tax receipts, encumbrance certificates, these are what prove your property is free of hidden legal or financial liabilities. Without these, your case just stalls out. Step 2 is sending a formal legal notice. Honestly, you'd be amazed how often a strongly worded notice from a reputable lawyer stops the conflict dead in its tracks.
If that fails, step 3 is filing a civil suit or approaching RERA if it's a builder issue. And step 4, attending court hearings via video conferencing. Yes, Indian courts increasingly allow this for NRI litigants now, which has completely revolutionized how you can fight for your property from abroad. It's a total game changer. But let's look at a realistic timeline for a second, just to manage our expectations. Based on real-world scenarios from the source data, a builder delay resolved through RERA might take about 8 months. Recovering ancestral property through a partition suit, you're looking at around 18 months. But unraveling a forged sale deed involving neighbors, which triggers both civil and criminal proceedings, that can easily take up to 3 years. The justice system works, but you absolutely have to be prepared for the timeline. Moving on to Section 4, Managing Power of Attorney. Now, the POA is pretty much an absolute necessity for managing property when you live abroad, but it is simultaneously one of the leading causes of NRI property disputes when handled poorly. It is the definition of a double-edged sword. Let's really break down this distinction because it is absolutely critical. A general power of attorney grants broad, sweeping powers to the holder. They can sell, mortgage, or lease out your property without asking you. It is highly dangerous and incredibly prone to misuse by relatives or caretakers. Contrast that with a special power of attorney. This limits their authority to highly specific tasks, like just collecting the rent or just representing you in one specific court case. If you are an NRI, hear me clearly. A special power of attorney is the only legally secure route you should be taking. But what happens if you've already handed someone a POA and you realize they're misusing it? The source material lays out the exact mechanism to cut off a rogue POA holder. And spoiler alert, you can't just call them up on WhatsApp and tell them they're fired. You have to send a formal revocation notice to the holder. And, this is the crucial part, you must register that revocation with the relevant sub-registrar office back in India. If it isn't legally registered, they could theoretically just keep doing damage to your assets. All right, we've talked a lot about fighting disputes. Let's shift gears in Section 5 to preventing future property disputes. It is time to stop reacting to problems and start proactively building an impenetrable shield around your investments. So here are the practical, preventative steps every single NRI needs to take. First, maintain updated digital documents safely. Second, try to visit your property regularly. Honestly, your physical presence alone is often enough to scare off casual encroachers. Third, draft a clear and registered will. This alone eliminates the vast majority of family inheritance squabbles. Also, don't just rely on your cousins to watch your house. Hire professional, local property management services. And perhaps most importantly, conduct periodic legal audits with a lawyer to check for unauthorized transfers or pending dues. And always verify your tenants thoroughly before signing any lease.
And the good news? Modern technology is finally on your side here. A lot of state governments, like in Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Telangana, have fully digitized their land records. These online portals allow you to instantly verify ownership details and check your mutation status. Actually, let me clarify that. Mutation status is just the official change of title in the local municipal records. Anyway, you can check all of this right from your laptop in your living room abroad. This kind of transparency is revolutionizing property security, letting you catch fraudulent claims early, way before they spiral into messy 3-year court battles.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. An NRI property dispute carries a massive toll. Financially, yes, but also emotionally. Families get split apart, careers are disrupted by the stress, and the legal fees just pile up. Sometimes the raw cost of fighting the dispute actually exceeds the value of the property itself. So you really have to ask yourself, what is the true cost of prolonged litigation compared to the immense value of your own peace of mind? Knowing when to fight, when to just settle, and most importantly, how to proactively protect your assets from day one is the real key to safeguarding your Indian legacy. So stay proactive, stay informed, and make absolutely sure that your dream property doesn't turn into a nightmare.